What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of No Reserves Radio. I'm your host, Angelo. With me, as always, is the ever wrong Alex. And Alex, how did you feel about basically all your hopes and dreams being wrong, all your assessments being wrong, everything you thought you knew was wrong? Just, you're wrong.
Well, hey guys, I guess I'm wrong, so I'm just gonna leave the show. See you, Angelo. Talk to you next week. Bye.
Next week, that's all you're going to need is a week. I'd like, you lost last year on the bets. You lost this year on the bets, despite my best efforts, and
I
you
feel like
lost on
do you
like that. That's at least a 2 week vacation for me, buddy.
do you actually know
Do
what's
you
the
just
record
enjoy
on our
losing? Is
picks?
that the thing you enjoy losing?
For context, guys, for context, I guess we'll start with a small little recap on the bets. Angelo went 3-3 on his picks. I went 2-4 in the picks in terms of the spread picks. And we're painting this off as like one of the worst performances ever because I lost by a big. Okay, bracket aside, which technically, like, my Super Bowl is still alive, your Super Bowl is still alive. So, bracket aside, we're
Well, your Super Bowl is still alive because you picked two of the one seeds who didn't play that week. Of course, your bracket was going to be still alive.
that's all
Basically,
it
made it
matters,
impossible for
baby.
it not to be. Oh my god!
That's all I need, baby. I'll tell you right now, my what? My we're actually like both have the same chances of getting to the conference championship. The conference championship games, right? Like for example, in my side, um, I think I went with the Lions and the Commanders or something like that. And on your side, I think it was Eagles Rams, and then it's Bills Chiefs and it's Ravens Chiefs for me. So we both still quite alive here. Come on now. Let's not talk about this like it's one of the worst performances ever.
It was one of the worst performances ever.
Much like the teams actually playing the games. I gotta ask you, is this like one of the worst wildcard rounds that you remember? Because the games were quite shitty for the most part.
Yeah, it's almost like they were really predictable, and if you didn't predict those winners, that was kind of sad, huh? Don't you think?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I laid out the perfect case for the Rams over the Vikings. As you said, I laid out the
Then
perfect
you picked the
case for
Vikings.
that. Hey, but I laid out the perfect case. If people just hear the rationale and they don't follow the picks, they would be very
Oh
happy
yeah,
with
yeah,
the
yeah,
outcome.
yeah.
See?
Just take all of Alex's information that he gives you and make your own opinion, because Alex can't
Technically,
apparently form his own fucking opinion on his own information.
I formed the opinion. The picks in the end didn't work out all that great. Uh, so we'll fix that as we go along. But if I'm not mistaken, there were only two upsets in terms of like what the odds were, because if I remember correctly, the Rams ended up closing as favorites, and so the Rams won. The Buccaneers were favorite and they lost, and the Chargers were favorite and they lost. Those were the only two favorites that lost this past week. So they were kind of predictable, but it's still like the product on the field was kind of shitty. And I guess I'll start with this because this was not on the show sheet, but this is the question that we always ask after every single
Went off the
wildcard
cuff.
round.
Yeah, okay, let's see.
Just I mean, we were talking about this, but small question: is the addition of the seven seed worth it? Because again, seven seeds, all eliminated. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, ever since it was introduced, it only got past the wildcard round once. Do you think like we should go back to six teams on each side? Do you think like because the seven seed really doesn't seem to be doing a whole lot here,
I
and
mean,
both seven seeds were kind of like destroyed.
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. It's almost like it was made to benefit the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, are we on the Chiefs conspiracy theory that this is just all to help out the Chiefs? We're not even going to give them credit when they win the Super Bowl again, are we? It's just gonna be
They're
fixed.
not. The Bills are eliminating them this year, so they're not making it, friend.
The Bills aren't even eliminating the Ravens.
Stop this.
I'm gonna have a laugh when Josh Allen gets eliminated by the league MVP.
Stop this.
Yeah, it's happening, buddy.
That's gonna be a great victory lap after the Bills absolutely smoke the Ravens.
No, no, no,
Spoiler
no,
alert!
no.
That is my prediction.
Hey, do you know what's embarrassing actually? Is that the quote unquote now league MVP Josh Allen that has no stats to back that up almost like because Lamar almost hasn't beaten every single category is an underdog at home versus the Ravens. Wild. At least it opened up as one. I haven't checked the lines yet right now, but he opened up as an underdog versus the league MVP. I guess it makes sense because it is the league MVP, about to be three-time MVP. First unanimous league MVP as well. Should have been unanimous league MVP last year as
Lamar
well.
Jackson dick for a second. Like
Hey,
the dude fell short. The dude made it to a conference championship game finally in year fucking like 7. Lost in embarrassing fashion to the Kansas City Chiefs, even though he was anointed the unanimous MVP. And like at least the Bills have made it to a conference championship before. Like I don't know. I don't get the Ravens hype. I'll never get the Ravens hype.
they made
The
it to
Ravens
the
haven't been good
AFC
since Joe
Championship.
Flacco was their quarterback. The defense has been league average for the most part, and even when the defense has been elite, the Ravens have fell short. What have the Ravens fucking done to warrant this faith that you have in them?
I don't
Please
know, about the
enlighten
same
me.
as the Bills.
Oh, stop it!
I mean, you asked it like Josh Allen has 6 playoff wins in his career, is 6-6 in the playoffs. He only went to one AFC championship as well. Only got past the wild card round. What like he only got to one AFC championship as well. Got past the wild card round a couple times as well. Like, it's not all that much different than what Lamar Jackson has done.
You know what, Alex? You're right. It is not all that different. Hold on, let me check something. Uh,
One is 3-7, the other is 6-6. Like in the
what?
playoffs.
Wait. Say that again. Say that again. Say that again. Say that again.
One is 6-6, the other is 3-7.
Okay.
One
Okay.
wins 30%
So,
of their playoff
so
games, the other one wins 50. Both have went
right,
to one AFC championship game.
right. So tell me, why does Lamar Jackson have 2 less playoff games than Josh Allen in the same time span?
If I'm not mistaken, it didn't make it to one of the playoffs, right?
Uh, okay, that's
Wasn't that the
weird.
year in which he was hurt or something like that?
Weird how that works. Weird. Just.
I'm just asking, wasn't that the year in which he got hurt?
Ah.
Like I think he missed it in 22 and 23. If I'm not, no, he missed it in 22. I think that's it.
Saying. This
You're
this
you,
blind
you're the
faith.
one that kind of needs to get off of Josh Allen's dick until he wins something. Not even an MVP.
Excuse me.
I mean, he hasn't even won an MVP. So
Great. MVPs are the standard when we give Lamar Jackson, who got into the MVP conversation at like 11:59 on the clock to midnight, and then got voted the unanimous MVP because apparently that's what we're doing now. Like, get out of here.
I mean, the whole league almost believed.
He was the unanimous MVP. That's why we didn't start talking about him until week 14. Yeah,
We
oh,
thought
yeah,
we started
yeah. It's
talking about him
obviously the
when
unanimous
he
MVP.
beat the crap out of the Miami Dolphins last year. That's when we started talking about it, and I think it was like on week 11 or week 10. Yeah, it was on December when he beat the Dolphins 56-19. Okay, not week 11. It was like week 16 or something like that. But that's when he got officially on the radar.
That's exactly my
But he
point.
was
That's
he
exactly my
was
point.
around the MVP. Like there was chatter about him. It all didn't come from that game. But like those were two of the top teams in the AFC at the time. And one of the guys came in and absolutely destroyed the other one. And when that
Oh,
happens, usually like the MVP voting, much like the coach of the year voting, is usually decided like in the last what 3 weeks of the year, unless one of the guys has an out of this world performance across the year. See, I was saying this, and Angelo got so frustrated about it that he just straight up left the chat. Now, I'm like 99% sure this was a technical difficulty on his behalf. But regardless, like, I just feel like the whole I don't know, the whole Lamar Jackson came in. Oh, I was just telling the viewers
uh-huh.
or the listeners of the
Yeah,
show that you were just like
lies.
so frustrated about not being right on this one that you just straight up left our chat.
Okay.
That's like
Yeah, that's totally what happened.
100% accurate, by the way. That's like 100%
Oh,
what happened.
so you can stay on Lamar. It's all good. If you can continue to be wrong, you can continue to be incorrect in all your assessments and have all the best data and all the time get it wrong. But I, I don't know what you
I
want.
guess we'll figure out who's the best guy
It's
in about
that's
2 days.
we don't need to wait. I already know the answer.
Yeah, it's the guy with the two MVPs, about to be three MVPs.
The to the two unjustified MVPs. Yes,
Unjustified, the unanimous MVP,
the
and what
two,
should have been
they're
another
false
unanimous
unanimous
MVP.
MVPs. Get
Why
out of
they
here.
I was especially the first one was the only one that was
Okay, the first one I'll
unanimous.
give you. The second
The
one is
second
not unanimous.
wasn't, but it wasn't
Um,
like a vote. One people didn't give him the unanimous MVP. Like I believe he had, if I'm not mistaken, he had every single vote outside of one. So that was
oh,
unanimous. But let's go back on
okay.
track. I've derailed the show long enough. Playoffs are in the books. Wild card is in the
Lamar
books.
Jackson's handle man, apparently. So, like, does Lamar at least pay you good to be on the books or no? I'm just curious.
Nah, I got a nice fat check actually. Like
I
he
believe that.
just sends part of the signing bonus to me every
Oh,
show.
okay, that's that's good because he threw a little hissy fit to get that money. So I'm glad he's putting it to good use.
Yeah, he is for sure. Like this is how we keep the lights on. By the way.
Okay, just making sure. Granted, I thought the country you lived in was so backwards that you still use candles. So I thought fire kept the lights on for you, but
No, no, we don't even use candles. We have like those fire things, those fire sticks that you used to put on like the walls. Some like
torches. They
torches.
call those
Yeah,
torches.
yeah, torches. That's what we use here. It's like it's all based on torches. Like every single house just burns down
And
every
that,
single
my
year.
friends, is an average Lamar Jackson fan.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. Torches, and we also hunt animals for a living. Like there's no supermarkets here. We
Torches are
just
to
like,
protest when Lamar doesn't win a unanimous MVP.
of course, that's what we
They're
do.
double.
That's
They're
what we
double
do.
use.
Yeah, of
They're dual
course.
purpose.
We
Yeah.
are we are very, how do you put it? We are very resourceful individuals, and we try
Stupid.
to use like a thing for multiple purposes. So yeah.
Lamar's a great quarterback. I just don't get it. I just don't get it though.
Hey,
I don't get it.
when
It's
he
like giving
wins,
Patrick Mahomes type hype without the accolades. Like,
I mean, Josh Allen also gets the Patrick Mahomes type of hype,
no, he
and he
doesn't.
doesn't
He
even
gets
have.
bashed on continually. Told he
Come on
doesn't
now.
deserve to win the.
If
Told
if
he doesn't deserve to win the MVP, even though me, you, and everyone in the fucking world was projecting them to have a 500 season, and he still fucking made it to the number 2 seed. The only fucking loss on the Kansas City Chiefs record came on his fucking back, and It's Lamar. It's obviously Lamar. Of course. Get the fuck out of here. Stop this.
I just look at the losses that each player had, and I look at Lamar Jackson losses, and they weren't great. Like no loss is great, but they were
He should
definitely
have two more. If the Bengals knew how to stop a fucking paper plane, he'd have two more on that
yeah,
record.
yeah. I'm
So you know,
sorry. I'm sorry that your team is so shit that they couldn't do that
on defense.
on defense. Of course, respectfully, respectfully.
Yeah.
And I just look at the Bills' losses and like losing to the Patriots. That's not great, right? I don't think that's great.
Didn't the Ravens lose
Lose.
to the Browns, or was that the Steelers?
I think that was the Steelers on like Thursday Night Football, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
The crazy loss that they had versus the Ravens is also not good, I would say. And allowing 44 points to the Rams also not great. So, but what do you want to talk in regards to what happened in this wild card weekend? Where do you want to start?
I was gonna say where you were wrong, but that was pretty much all the games. So like, doesn't matter to me, man. Take us away. What loss do you want to talk about first? Which one? Here, I'll start you off easy. Which one hurt the least?
Which of the things that I was wrong hurt the least?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I would say the Texans and the Chargers.
That hurt the least. Oh God, this is
Yeah,
gonna be long.
because I am kind of indifferent towards both. Like I thought the Chargers were going to win. I thought the Texans really didn't have that big of a team, but apparently, like Justin Herbert became a trash can throwing that football, and like part of it wasn't just that he was bad. I think we praised a lot of what Justin and any average viewer of the NFL would praise the things that Justin Herbert was doing in season, and a lot of those throws were like crossbody throws where we were just like, oh my god, how did he manage to get that completion? And in the playoffs, you were watching a similar Justin Herbert, but the things were just not connecting. And I don't know if it was just bad luck in general, or if like he wasn't trusting his receivers because like he was playing with Len McConkey and that's about it. The rest is like QJ just turned back into a pumpkin after having like almost 200 yards. In the last week of the regular season, he just turned back into a pumpkin,
Don't
a
worry, he
guy
has
with
no
no
wheel.
arms. Yeah, no wheels. I told you, no wheels. Like the guy has lost his wheels because he also like they throw him the wheels and he couldn't catch the wheels. He just dropped them. So it happened. And like every other receiving threat in that team was just like nullified. So props to the Texans, great defense, offense. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I can't really prop up the offense all that much, but the defense was great and they got a lot of pressure on Herbert. So that was the one that stunned the least because I didn't really care about either team all that much. Like I'm not the biggest fan of CJ Stroud, but like I don't particularly love the Chargers as well.
I'm just taken back to last week where you were like, yeah. What if, Angela? What if Bryce Young was secretly the best quarterback all along while Bryce
Oh,
Young
he
is
is.
sitting on the
He is.
couch praying that the Panthers don't draft a quarterback with their top 5 pick? And CJ Stroud is playing in a playoff game, beating Justin Herbert and going on to play the Kansas City Chiefs. But yes, let's talk about how Bryce Young is secretly the best quarterback in that class. Oh my
He
God.
is. I stand by that.
Mm-hmm. Are
You
the Chargers just
selecting a
cursed?
game.
Like they lost in embarrassing fashion with a Harbaugh coaching them. That's a pretty distinctive accolade right there.
I I wouldn't say that they are cursed. I think we need to look back at what we thought about the Chargers as the season was about to start. Like we looked at the rosters and there were issues on defense. They were overpaying two guys who were both getting older. Both are usually riddled with injuries across the
Talking
season.
about
In
Bosa and Mac.
and Mac, yeah. And we were looking at their receiving core, and they had a guy like Keenan Allen, who they traded away. They had Mike Williams, who left in free agency to sign with the Jets.
Yeah.
So we looked at that, and we looked at QJ, we looked at Lad McConkey, a rookie coming into that offense, and I don't know, like I think our outlook on the Chargers, and I guess we can talk about it when we review our preseason predictions. But I think our outlook on the Chargers wasn't all that like nice. I don't really think either of us predicted them to go to the playoffs. So they sort of
No, we didn't.
overachieved during the season. I think that's fair to say. And they sort of showed what type of roster they are. They are a roster that was well coached. The culture was starting to get there, but they just didn't have the pieces. And I think they go into a season in which they have a lot of cap to spend. They have their picks to use as well. I feel like it's not as much as like they are cursed or this was like a terrible performance or what's wrong with the Chargers. I just think like the Chargers are a team that are growing. Like they got to the playoffs sort of by accident, I would say. Um, and I think the future is bright for them right now with Harbaugh as coach.
Futures, we'll see. I do think they need to get more weapons in there. They need like a number one running back for sure. I think the strategy of just sign a bunch of injury riddled running backs and that have history of performance and hope that it pays off. Now, granted, worked in spurts in the regular season. It's not going to work in the playoffs. J.K. Dobbins looked terrible. I think Gus Edwards actually is hurt, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah,
I think
I just think they need to improve the weapons. I honestly think a lot of where they are right now is fine. I do think they're going to have to work on drafting pass rushers, and granted, that's going to be easier when the Bosa and Matt contracts are off the books. But they're closer than we gave them credit for. I agree
yeah.
with that.
I think so, and I think part of the issue you mentioned the running backs. I think they sort of took this as a transition year, so they hired Greg Roman as their OC, going back to running the football, and I think they just signed two guys that were used to the system, and J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, who played with
Yeah.
under Greg Roman, in the Greg Roman's offense back when he was with Baltimore. So they just grabbed two guys that knew the system, plugged them in, so I think as it develops, as the offseason develops, I really think that they will address some of those points on offense and on defense, and I think they will improve the team as it goes on. So I just think it was a team that wasn't ready for this moment because they really didn't have the expectations to do so preseason. That is.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
On the other side, I mean, props to the Texans. Like that defense was great. The offense did their
What's
job. I think they're
Please repeat that statement.
the defense was awesome. The offense did their job.
No, 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 no. The first thing you said. First
Uh,
sentence.
uh, the props to the Texans.
There you go. Good job, Alex. You gave the Texans credit for something.
Great, great for the Texans. Your reward for doing a good job versus the Chargers is now you're going to KC to get your ass clapped.
Are
Perfect.
they though?
They are.
Are they
They're
though?
most. They most definitely are.
What if they win?
They won't.
They won't. Just they won't.
They won't. Like I can tell you right now, this is a KC team, and the rest is always a tricky thing because you want to rest your players, but you also want your players to stay competitive. But this KC team has been resting for nearly 3 weeks now, just waiting for this moment.
Yeah.
I think they'll destroy the Texans, but we'll see. But props on the defense. The defense was great. I think there was a point in that game that really flipped the switch. They were down, if I'm not mistaken, it was 6-0 in the second quarter. It was before the 99-yard drive that the offense put together. The first play in that drive, I think it should have been a safety that puts the game 8-0, balls to the Chargers. You know how the Chargers like to run in that scenario in which they're up. So I could see the game definitely turning way different if that safety does happen. But it didn't, and props to them to just turn the game around, get the touchdown in that 99-yard drive, and get a lot of good things going, putting the pressure on the Chargers. Like they were living in that backfield defensively. So again, props to the Texans, but your reward is that you're now going to KC and you're getting clapped because you also have a bunch of injuries. Like Mixon, if I'm not mistaken, is questionable. I think it was something regarding his hamstring injury or his calf injury that he had in the past. So that's not great. Do you actually think the Texans have a chance?
Oh no, I don't.
Okay, okay. I was getting worried there for a bit.
No, that would be the shock of like the century if the Texans pull off the upset against the Chiefs.
The shock of everything, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no way. It would be fun. I would revel in it, but I don't think it's happening.
I think they're getting clapped.
You think
Okay, they're getting clapped. We'll clap in that bitch.
Alrighty. To the next segment then. That was fun. Wow. Interesting.
Can we jump into one that I was right,
Sure.
or
Where were
are
you
we
right?
not doing those?
You said you
I
didn't want to do those, so, but if you want to do them, I can do 'em.
I was
You're
looking at
acting.
the show
You're
shit,
acting like
and none of the ones that I was right are in here. So that's kind of fun, huh?
that's only one game.
That's only one game. That's true, but hey, my Commanders, they saved my ass, so that's fun. Um, but yeah, since it's not on the show sheet, I will respect the show sheet, and I'll
This
keep
guy.
taking my beating. So next up, Angelo, you can revel on your Eagles.
Let's go.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
This is the one I thought would hurt the worst. I'm not gonna lie. I thought you were saving that to last. But
Now you can
what
go off.
happened, Alex? What happened, Alex? The Eagles that they are not weren't good enough, Angelo. They're fraudulent. They're a fraudulent playoff team. They're never gonna get anywhere. And they didn't go into Green Bay. Green Bay went into Philly. But they came home into Philly and they absolutely demoralized, demolished, and destroyed the team that I was honestly the most afraid of in the NFC, simply because I'm not sure there's anything scarier than a hot Packers team in the NFC.
Wait a minute. Wait a
Go
minute.
ahead.
How are
Wait
you
a minute.
saying that? And then
Huh?
I heard, I read a message from you on
Uh
our
huh.
group chat in which
Uh
you
huh.
said the Eagles are no longer my NFC pick. So,
That is
what
true.
team are you afraid of now? If the team that you were most afraid of is out of the running, like why aren't the Eagles no longer your pick?
I guess you're gonna have to wait to find out.
Okay, I guess we will. I mean, Eagles defense was great again. It's much like the Texans. Eagles defense was great. Like that's the story of the game. Like I'm not gonna give any credit to Jalen Hurts for doing that
Oh
because he
my
had like
god.
the dude had a buck 38 passing yards.
He did what he needed to do.
Yeah, nothing because the defense played great. That's
This
what I'm
guy.
saying. Like the game started again, much like the Texans game. As I said, that the safety was a pivotal moment in that game that flipped the game. First play in the Packers game. What's the name? Keyshawn Nixon, I believe that's the name of the defensive back who returns kicks for the Packers. He was returning the opening kickoff. They rule he fumbles the football but grabs it back. They rule that as a fumble, change of possession to the Eagles, despite the fact that everyone and their mama can see in the replay that he clearly grabbed possession of the football again. Like that's not he didn't lose possession. Like he fumbled the football, but he grabbed it back, and then like a pile happened, and then Eagles guy comes with the football, but you can clearly see in the replay that the dude grabbed the football back. So like instead of being the Packers starting from the like 30-yard line or 25-yard line, with possession in the first quarter, the Eagles scored a touchdown, and because they were like inside of the 20 immediately. Undeserving. So I guess we need to start the narrative of
Undeserved.
this is rigged for the Eagles.
Oh, this guy.
I guess because like that's blatant how they did that, how they gave that that
Blatant.
kickoff fumble recovery to the Eagles. But regardless, the rest they played great on defense. They were great. The Packers turned over the ball a lot. This is what we're talking about with the Packers. Like when they're hot, they're hot, but when they're cold, it's like Lambo cold in that. So yeah,
And
not
the
great for
Packers
them.
were indeed Lambeau cold after that.
They were Lambeau cold. It is, and it happens. Like from time to time, they have games like that. The Jordan Love is a very streaky QB.
He
Started
is.
off the season rough. He had that middle patch. There was this purple patch right there in which he played great, and then he struggled again to end the season. They didn't have Christian Watson, and like they also lost Romeo Dubs and they lost Jaden Reed during the game, so they were down to like their wide receiver four by then. Not a great game. They got clapped by the Eagles. And I'll wait to see more from the Eagles.
You will wait to see more from the Eagles.
I've seen the defense. Now I want to see the offense.
Hmm.
Is that too much to ask, Angelo?
Maybe. Maybe the defense is all they're going to need. I don't know. We might go to playoffs without the Eagles needing to score an offense. We'll see.
You actually believe that?
I mean, do you see who's on the slate?
Yeah, it's the Rams, which I
Yeah.
figure it might be why you switched your pick. Maybe.
Hmm.
So I do see who is on the slate, and it does seem to be a team that you like. So I would expect them to have to score at least this game, and maybe versus the hottest team in the league in the Lions. But we'll see. Maybe they don't. They just need to score like 10 points. The defense will do the rest and be like the best defense ever in the playoffs. But yeah, I underestimated the Eagles a bit. At least the Eagles defense.
You underestimate. Yes, thank you. You underestimated the Eagles. You did not give the Eagles. You have these blindfold where if it's the Eagles, it obviously must be bad because they're the Eagles, and you know the result
The
isn't the
Eagles
result. And
defense.
don't ignore the things you see with your own eyes. Even though the Eagles won, it wasn't a good win, quote unquote, good win.
Eagles defense. Underline defense.
So was it a good win, Alex? Was it a good win?
I don't think so.
Oh my god! What are you talking
Let's okay. What do I usually define as a good win? The team needs to play
I don't
great.
even know anymore at this point. I just figured a win is a win.
No, but for a while now I've said they haven't win good enough. So apparently a win is not a win for me. And when I say win good enough,
At least you admit it.
is you have the offense and the defense both running at full power, both looking strong, versus a team that gave them a fight. I mean, that team had 4 turnovers against them. The offense barely had 300, didn't even have 300 yards of full
Mm.
offense. Like Jalen Hurts passed for a buck 30, a buck 40. Saquon ran for like 100 yards. That's it.
Oh,
So yeah, they didn't win good enough. I underestimated the defense, what the defense could do. Sure, I'll give you that. But I don't think they won good enough.
they did win. The Eagles are going to win a Super Bowl, and you're going to be like the saddest person on the planet,
If they win the
and still,
Super Bowl, I'll admit that I was wrong.
it's still trying to say they didn't win the Super Bowl good enough.
Nah. If they win the Super Bowl, I'll give them full props. Right now, the defense is getting the props.
Ah,
But enough of that particular instance in which I was wrong. Let's move to another instance in which I was wrong. But I was
uh-huh.
partly right on, I guess.
Oh
Which was
no.
the Vikings. Have you ever seen a QB cost himself as many millions as as Sam Darnold has in the past 3 weeks?
He's still gonna get paid. Who are you kidding, man? He's about to be the starting quarterback for like the Browns or the Raiders next year.
But the thing is,
Or
I
the
was
Vikings.
thinking when he was on that run, like that MVP run of his
Oh
a
my
couple
god.
weeks
Yeah,
back.
yeah. You remember when you called him? Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
But back then, with the stats that I was putting, the play that he was putting on tape,
Remember
that's
when
a
I
guy.
clapped back at that too, and you're like, "Oh, he's playing good enough. He's playing good enough." Okay, okay.
That's a guy right there that would have gotten like 3 years, 45 million API, in my eyes at least. So that's the type of contract he was playing himself into. And after the last 3 weeks, I think you're looking at a guy that is getting like a 1 year, like 10, $15 million, like
I
in a
think he'll
place.
get more than that. I think he'll get closer to 25, 35, but we'll see.
Uh,
We'll
I
see which
can't
one of
see a
us is
team
right.
like,
Maybe the
yeah,
guy who's historically wrong is going to be wrong again. Who knows?
another shot. I just think this is going to be a Baker Mayfield situation when he went to the Bucks. Like that was a 1 year deal, around 10 to $15 million in that 1 year, and it's a prove it deal basically. And I think this is what he's going to get. I could see him being back with the Vikings as well, at that amount. But
Yeah,
there's also heavy rumors for the Raiders. There's heavy rumors for the Saints. Maybe it does get a bit more because this QB class looks kind of rough around the edges, at least.
yeah.
So
We could see a lot of quarterbacks again. Like, if I'm not mistaken, was it this class that we just did where a similar situation happened? Well, yeah, because Sam Darnold did get signed as a result of that, and James Winston, where we're going to see teams signing quarterbacks that are already NFL quarterbacks that they know can at least produce at some kind of baseline versus going for a rookie and potentially drafting yourself into a pink slip.
well,
So
sort of like this QB class that we just had. It had the Caleb Williams, it had the Jaden Daniels, it had the Drake May. All those three guys were projected to be very good
what was
starters.
the class where teams did that? Was it the year before then?
No, I think it was. Wait, the year before. Who did we have the year before? The year before it was the Anthony Richardson and the who was the number one guy taken? I'm drawing a blank. It was also a heavily praised. Oh, it was the Stroud Bryce Young year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Richardson, Bryce. I think those were it. I think the class that you're talking about was the Kenny Pickett class, wasn't it?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And I think this one is kind of similar to that one. Although, like Cam Ward is probably a higher type of talent, you're probably looking at a guy that can go top five in this draft class. But after that, Shedeur Sanders has his questions as well. So this is a much iffy draft class, I would say, which would put a higher demand on guys like Sam Darnold, I guess. Yeah,
Okay.
I've seen rumors. I've seen rumors of him going to the Saints, the Raiders as well.
What if Derek Carr is the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns? I might actually be happy.
Jesus Christ.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, because the Browns apparently are gonna need a QB since
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Deshaun
yeah.
Watson just tore his Achilles after having surgery on the Achilles. So that's great. I don't know. Maybe there was a coach in there that just went in the room when Watson was asleep and just like, I'm just gonna slash a bit of it. And there goes the Achilles again.
You got a problem, man.
I don't know. We need to know where Stefanski was on the day that
Oh my
Watson
god.
tore his Achilles. In the moment in which he tore his Achilles, what's Stefanski's alibi?
Oh man.
And you're gonna see that it's probably his alibi is probably that he was with another coach. And the alibi of the coach is Stefanski, and funny enough, coincidence happen. Call me Sherlock Holmes, baby.
Sherlock Holmes over here. Sherlock Alex or Alex Holmes.
Alex Holmes.
Yeah. Alex Holmes.
But what do you think of that Viking? Do you think it
I'm
was
pretty
more
sure
on the
that's the name of a
Vikings?
linebacker for the Lions right now because of all the injuries. Anyway, what's up?
What did you think of that Vikings game? Do you think it was more the Vikings? It was you were more disappointed on the Vikings or more impressed with the Rams?
I got what I expected. What are you talking about?
You just got like you thought this was exactly how is it going to pan
Yeah,
out?
I knew what reality was, Alex. I hate to break it to you, but sometimes it is that simple.
Yeah, I did give you the breakdown, right?
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you broke down the case for the Vikings to the point that I didn't even have to make the case for the Vikings. And then you were like, "But I'm gonna go with or the Rams." Sorry, but then you went, "I'm gonna go with the Vikings," and I'm just like, "What are you doing? You just talked not for like 5 minutes about how good the Rams were, the veteran leadership, the Sean McVay, the Matthew Stafford, their wide receivers are healthy. They got Kyron Williams. The defenses looked good enough, and what what did you expect? Why did
I
you expect the Vikings? Did you expect the Vikings to win like the Eagles won? Is that what you expected?
I expected the Rams defense to be worse than they were. I expected Sam Darnold to have a bit more time in the pocket like he was used to have. But the pressure was just, I mean, it was dialed in. It was an impressive effort by, if I'm not mistaken, it is the least expensive defense on the league. They've spent around 40 million on that defense, if I'm not mistaken. Like the second lowest is like 100 million by the Panthers, if I'm not mistaken. So impressive display on defense, impressive display by their DC. I just didn't expect it to be that good, I guess, on defense. On offense, it went about as I expected from the Rams. Like it wasn't super high powered offense in terms of like getting those chunk plays and whatnot, like relatively quiet games from Puka for Cup. Kyron had an okay game. They weren't really getting a whole lot on offense in terms of like those big chunk plays, but on defense, I mean, they just completely destroyed the Vikings. Like
Mm-hmm.
they couldn't do anything. I was just
Yep.
watching Sam Darnold take step backs and immediately get pressure on his face. He was holding on to the ball way too much again. Um, I
Weird.
don't know what happened there. Like there were a lot of instances in there in which it would have been even a field goal if he just threw the ball away and he was taking sacks, taking the team out of field goal range. So I think answering to my own question, I think I was a bit more a mix of both, I would say. I was impressed with the Rams, but definitely disappointed with the Vikings. So maybe even in equal parts.
Okay, what's the next game you were wrong about?
Well, let's talk about one that I was right on. The Ravens got the win, huh?
The Ravens did get the win.
And they did wreck the Steelers, right?
They did beat the Steelers. The Steelers are
Wreck
also
the
probably
Steelers. Wreck the Steelers. Please,
yes,
Angelo.
wrecked the Steelers. The Steelers are probably one of the most fraudulent playoff teams. Definitely one of the most fraudulent 10-win teams I've seen in a long, long time. Like,
And to
I
think,
don't know how they got there. I don't get it. I just they got there.
if they had beaten your Bengals late in the season, last game even, they would have been in
The
they
division.
would yeah
The,
they would have won the division.
yeah.
So
Isn't that crazy to think about?
this stat came up when they lost, and I mentioned this, and I
In
think
fact, honestly, I don't get why the fuck you're hating on the fucking Eagles. The Steelers are a much better example of not winning good enough.
yeah, I mean they aren't winning good enough, but there was never anyone saying they were winning good enough. or even that
Oh,
their wins were good or expecting anything from them. You're putting the Eagles as your Super Bowl pick. So of course I have some higher expectations on the guys.
oh my God.
But yeah, the Steelers are now 0-6 in their last playoff games. They have allowed 38 points per game. And there were rumbles. I mean, people were talking like they were disappointed with the loss. What's next for Tomlin? Do you think they change coaches? Like, I can see it. Can you?
I don't think no, the Steelers don't change coaches. They're a franchise known for consistency on their coaching play, but I think the argument is there. I think when you think about who the Steelers are, the results that they've put out in the playoffs over the last, I'd say, decade are not what you expect from the Steelers. It's quite frankly.
I mean, you're looking at it, and it's like, I think this is the perfect description of always competing, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Which is again like, what would you rather have? Would you rather have a coach that got you a Super Bowl and then did fuck all and the team would go down in flames and you would be struggling for a lot of years? Or do you want to be this, like a team that consistently gets
I don't want
nine
to be
wins,
this.
10 wins?
Hell,
You're strict in purgatory here. Like, what are you doing? Something
they were
needs to
getting 9
change.
wins when Mason Rudolph was their quarterback. That's kind of the thing like I don't agree with is that they never rebuilt. They never found their answer at quarterback. They just drafted people like Mason Rudolph, hoped it worked, and then they signed older veterans like, or even projects that were given up on, like Justin Fields, like Russell Wilson, and it worked.
Can
But
Kenny
it's not
Pickett.
your solution. It's yeah, it's not your solution.
So now they're, I don't know, unless they re-sign Russ, but now they actually have to pay him a deal because he's not signing again for the league minimum since he's not getting the money from the Broncos anymore. Like, what are the options here? Do you go back to the Russell Wilson well? Do you just try your
I
luck
would,
with someone else? Yeah, I think you're
yeah.
sort of capped with Russell Wilson. Like, I think what he did with the offense was probably better. Not even
Problem is
probably,
the
it was
defense is
better
so
than.
good you can't really commit to like a rebuild. You're
Yeah,
gonna
the
win
thing
8 or 9 games again.
after winning 10 games, like, how do you turn around and you say that you need to rebuild? It's sort of hard. We watch it and we think that's the right thing, but it's hard to justify, especially to the fans, to the shareholders of the team, that you have this defense that is constantly in the top five of the league. You're winning 9 to 10 games every week, every year. You're going to the playoffs. How do you turn around and say that now we need to rebuild? Now we need to trade our best players away after
Do you
winning
know?
10 games.
Do you know how you pitch that?
Yeah.
We're not the Kansas City Chiefs, and we're not beating them anytime soon. There you go.
Do you just take the is that the Angelo route? What you did in the fantasy football league a few years back? When you were like, okay, the team is definitely getting to the playoffs every year. But then you look at my team and you were like, okay, it's time to justify the rebuild.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did.
So,
I wasn't
but
Alex, and I wasn't, and I'm not gonna get there anytime soon. So
the thing was is that was like 6 years ago, and you're
it
still
was.
not back in the picture.
You're right.
So, is that the right thing to do as well?
Yes. Sometimes the
I
right
think
thing is not the easy thing, Alex. The easy
I
thing
think
and the
you
right thing are not always the same.
I think there has to be an in between. Like, they can't go to the absolute bottom of the well, but they
No, no,
also
that's a
can't
dark
be
place.
stuck
Trust me, I
here.
know.
Yeah, they can't pull a full Angelo, but they need to pull like an halfway Angelo
Yeah.
of some sort. Like, what's your best idea for what the Steelers should do this offseason? Like, let's start with the QB decision. Fields is off the books. They didn't pick up the fifth year option. Russell Wilson is off the books. Clean slate at QB. There's no QB in there. What do? Do you address it via the draft, which is a weak class? Do you pay up for one of the premium free agents about to be? in Sam Darnold, for example, do you go to one of the retreads, and here I'm saying the Cars, the Wilsons, the Jameis Winstons, the Jacoby Brissetts of the world, all of those guys. Um, what are do you try and trade for one of the maybe disgruntled QBs that are in the league now? Right now, I really can't see a whole lot, but maybe like an Aaron Rodgers if he becomes available. For example, looking at the teams, I don't even know who else could be available. Like the QB play has
I
really
mean, if you're
declined.
asking what I do, I draft a quarterback in like the third round, start working on the offensive line, and go from there.
But the hit rate on the QB, my issue with it is the hit rate on the QB outside of the first round is so low that it's like,
Yep,
why are you even wasting a third round pick on that guy? That's a day two pick. Like,
it
if
is a
you're
bit.
basically punting on a QB, why not pick just a guy from like the sixth or seventh round?
I guess that's fair.
Completely ignore the position, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
I think maybe even the better solution is just going with one of the retreads. Will cost you like what,
are you
5 million,
saying Derek
six
Carr should
million?
be the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers? Is that what you're
I
saying, Alex?
think you have to pick one of those guys. Yeah, just pick like a Derek Carr, pick like a Jameis Winston, pick a Jacoby Brissett, someone like that around that realm, and just try to do something. Like you also have the George Pickens thing right now that looks like a bomb about to explode. Like, what's with the Steelers and the whiny wide receivers and the diva wide receivers? Like Antonio Brown was that. Deontay Johnson, like, what a train wreck right now. Juju was like he wasn't that diva, but he had some traits, and now
He
you
was
have
on
George
Twitch.
Pickens. Yeah, and now you have George Pickens, who I posted it on Twitter. If you guys are following it, you probably saw it. But like he was asked something on the offense, like the developments that the offense made in the last part of the season. And he said that he was happy, and then they like said something along the lines of, "Do you expect this to continue? Are you happy with this? Or are you like motivated by this?" And he was like, "No."
Oh my god.
It's like, "Do you think you just turned a new page and like the offense is finally fixed?" And he's like, "No."
Nope.
So that's fucking great. Now there's reports that like versus I want to say it was like it was one of the games down late. Which game was it?
Bengals. Please say it's the Bengals.
I don't know. There was like one game. I want to say it was like Cleveland or something. That he was late. He basically didn't appear until like what 30 minutes to game time or something like that. For that game. Now there's reports that they do want to move off of him as well because like they're sort of done with that. I don't know, man. The only thing holding all of this together is the defense because like you don't have a QB, you maybe won't even have wide receivers anymore. Your running backs are trash outside of maybe Jalen Warren is okay, but Najee is trash and he's about to be a free agent. Like everyone on offense is just about to disappear, but you have that great defense with like every piece under contract almost. So it's like you really can't pull the plug on this entirely. But
Unless you
like,
have to.
but how do you pull? Are you just going to trade TJ Watt, like Cameron Hayward, all of those guys on
Yeah.
defense?
Specifically Cameron Hayward, yes.
Okay, but like Cameron Hayward is also like 38 or something. Like I don't know. He could pull like a Gronk, back when he was about to be traded to Detroit, and he was like, "Okay, yeah, so trade me, and I'm gonna retire." And it's like, "Okay, so I'm not trading you." So I think that's a
Gotta call the
possibility.
bluff. You gotta call the bluff.
I don't know. I feel like this is a real weird situation. I would just go with like a retread from anywhere from those guys that will make like 5 million. Have some ceiling, but you also know that the floor is like almost non-existent. The floor is the offense will be so bad that she will be in the running for like a top 7 pick.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I think that's right where you should go right now. And you just build the old line mostly. That's I think what they need the most right now.
Yes, it is. Thank you. That matchup was so obvious that even Alex got it right.
Yeah, you know who didn't pick that one right? On the picks?
Hmm.
Someone picked Pittsburgh plus 9.5.
I picked it for the points. I didn't say Pittsburgh was winning this game.
I'm not saying that you did, but like it was so obvious that they were getting destroyed that a certain guy that has a name starting with A and finishes in Angelo didn't pick that one right apparently.
Hmm.
Mr. Know It
Well,
All failed that one.
I did. And yet I still got more predictions right than you.
You went 3 and
We're
3. I
gonna
went
have
2 and 4.
uh-huh. Still it's win's a win.
A win's a win.
Unlike you, I don't have to win every week 13-3 to call it a win.
Okay. Moving on. So as we were talking about in the show as well, now a bit more of the generalized news. I would say there's not a whole lot of things to talk about with the Commanders game. I would say and the Bills game. Like the Bills game looked interesting for a part there, and then like nothing. Like the Bills were not using like all of the opportunities they were getting, and then in the second half they just put the pedal to the metal and it was just like a rout after that. So Broncos really showed their inexperience. Commanders keep getting away with it, I guess. Like doinked field goal that goes in, they win the game. So they keep being a team that is about to get caught, but they are never caught. So here we are. But so I guess we'll talk a bit about more of the general news. But as we discussed, Mike Vrabel is back in New England now. That's the first big domino that like surprised Pikachu face. Like no one knew that it was coming, right? Just said it here.
I mean, it is honestly the most obvious pickup. He's the most patriot. Like I don't even know how to explain it. It's just if you told me who's currently the Bill Belichick of head coaching while Bill's gone, it's Vrabel. It's it just is. It's Vrabel.
Do you think? Because one of the first things that he said when he was announced, they
Big man
asked them
training camp.
like, no,
Okay.
no. But like when he was hired, they asked him about the notion of and the perceived notion that is that he is a run first type of head coach. He's a guy that really wants to set the pace on the run game, and
Yep.
his response was not backing that. He said that back with the Titans, I mean, they were a run first team because they had the best running back in the league. So look at what the guy is doing right now with the Ravens. And he
Oh
didn't fully
no.
commit to being that type of coach.
Don't
Do you
fall
think we
for
could
this.
see any sort
Don't
of
fall for this.
surprise, or is that just like coach talk?
Don't That's coach talk. Don't
That's
fall for
coach
this.
talk.
Don't fall for
Okay.
this.
Are we not gonna see like a Shanahan type of high-powered offense, or a Cliff Kingsbury type of high-powered offense?
No.
Air raid offense? No.
No.
Okay.
Stop this.
Okay. One can hope.
Getting your hopes up. Getting your Drake May hopes up. You want the kitty wheels taken off of Drake May and
Now, I mean, if it does have like a Ryan Tannehill sort of role, in which like he will have the main target, a lot of play action, roll out, get the ball to the target, be like a very serviceable fantasy football QB, in the passing game. And then, with Ryan Tannehill, the big thing was that he would pick up the chunk yardage at times and get those touchdowns when he was near the goal line as well. I mean, Drake May has that wheels, so I could see him being in that sort of offense and imitate what Tannehill was doing for a good bit there when Tennessee had success. How fast do you
I can
think
see that.
they can turn this around and be a competitive team again?
I'd give it 2 years.
Hmm.
If they have a really, really good draft and off season, maybe this coming year, but I'd give it 2 years.
Okay. Any chance that this fails?
Oh yeah, there's always a chance. Oh my god.
What how you answered it really seems like there's a whole lot of chances that this fails.
But
You answered
like
to this like this is definitely going haywire. Like I could see this just going kaput in a
I
minute.
could. So okay, let me play devil's advocate for a second. So what if, because again, I'm not a tape guy, you're a tape guy, so you tell me how viable this is. What if there are some obvious flaws in Drake May's game, and now that we have a full year of tape on Drake May, defensive coordinators are more well equipped to handle his tendencies, and he has a sophomore slump? Likeliness of that. Because that right there tanks your next season if that is true. So likeliness of that.
I think it's not 50-50, I would say. I think it's probably closer to like 60-40 type of range, I would put it.
60,
Because
60 that he's gonna have a good season next year.
yes.
I'm assuming. Okay. Go on.
Because when you look at his tape, and it's like I know people want to go rah-rah about his stats. I like them out of college. I liked its rookie season in general. But like there's people out there that look at the final stat line and are like, yeah, this guy did great. Like I was reading at times, like after his good games, people talking about the Rookie of the Year award and whatnot when Shaden Daniels was having a downturn and Bo Nix didn't really have that great of game. But the thing is, those games in which like the stat line was just to the gills, those games were games in which the Pats got their ass beat, and it reminded me a bit of the Blake
Uh-oh.
Bortles back with the Jags.
The
It's just
garbage
like
time stat
the
lines.
garbage time stat lines, baby. Like the game is 0-0. You do nothing. You're down 7. You do nothing. You're down 14. You do nothing. You're down 21. You're doing something. You're down 28, and all of a sudden you start playing some football because the defense gets relaxed. The coverages aren't as tight, and the pressure isn't as high because the team is backing off a bit. And all of a sudden, a stat line that looks like jack shit, all of a sudden it looks okay. So that's the main concern there. How is he going to play in those type games? How are the mistakes going to happen in those type games? How big of a risk taker is Mike Vrabel going to be with this guy to start off? And how do they improve this roster overall? I mean, you're sitting here in 2025, and is it the worst wide receiver spot in the league? Is that those guys
One of
like
them.
they didn't all of the guys that they drafted didn't really pan out into anything. Javon Baker,
Panthers is
Jalen
probably
Cole.
worse. I think honestly, Demario Douglas has more potential than anyone on the Panthers. But that
I,
said, I
I
don't
think
think it's much
Leggett is
better.
fine. I think Leggett is fine. In terms of like the upside, I think Leggett probably hasn't beat. In terms of the best wide receiver around those two wide receiver cores, I would say that it's probably Adam Thielen by a good bit. And if Adam Thielen is the answer to any question about which wide receiver is better, something is wrong, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's like the one big concern is how are they going to fix this? Because historically, the Patriots have sucked at drafting wide receivers. Vrabel has been okay at drafting wide
So
receivers.
then
Now
what's the
he
warning sign
wasn't the
for you?
GM.
What's the warning sign for you? So let's say the Patriots go into this draft and you see them draft offensive line and pass rushers with all of their picks in the first 4 rounds. Is this concerning to you? Are you like is the warning flares going off for you?
If the what? Sorry, didn't pick that part up.
If the Patriots enter this draft and they do nothing but draft frontline players, so offensive linemen and pass rushers, with their first 4 picks, is that pause for is that reason to be concerned? Is that
I mean,
would that give you a pause?
unless they sign someone, um, for like the wide receiver core, I would say that's pause for concern. Yeah, like the offensive line was improving, I would say, with the pieces they got recently. Now the defense needs work, but I don't know how much of it was coaching or lack of coaching, I would say, and how much of that is Vrabel gonna fix because the Titans tended to have a pretty solid defense with Vrabel coaching them. So I think part of the thing gets solved with Vrabel on defense because like their defensive backs are still very solid. They still have an elite corner in Christian Gonzalez. Now they definitely need pass rush help, but they also have a top 3 pick, if I'm not mistaken, or 4. I believe they're picking fourth, so they
Yep.
can just address that there, or maybe even go for like a surprise pick of like a Travis Hunter, for example, to bolster the defense and give some help on offense. But if they
Would
do
you
not
believe in
address the
Travis
wide
Hunter in
receiver,
fantasy if he was drafted to the Patriots? Like, would you like think about that if they used him as a corner and then he was also he'd probably also be their best wide receiver at the time?
I don't think I could ever trust him. I don't think I'm drafting Travis Hunter. Period. In any
Really?
sort of outside of the 32 team league, which is IDP. Of course, in there is probably like 101 or fighting for it because you're playing him in a defensive back position and he's getting you like I would be shocked if he's not playing around 20 snaps on offense per game. But that's also probably the most that he can play without getting fully tired playing full time on defense. So outside
Mhm.
of that league, I'm probably not taking the risk on the Travis Hunter because I think he's an elite cornerback, but he's a good wide receiver at best. And I think when he gets drafted, he's probably playing mostly on defense. He's playing full time on defense, and then he's having like 15 to 20 snaps on offense. So if he goes to the Patriots, if he goes to whatever, I don't think I'm picking him for regular leagues. For IDP, sure, he's probably like 1B to Chanty.
1B to Janty. Interesting.
Yeah,
That means you think
for
Janty's gonna
IDP
be.
leagues.
This is interesting.
For the rest, I'm not taking the risk. Unless he comes out and he says that he's a wide receiver. But if he is a wide receiver, I don't think he's that great of a prospect for a wide receiver in terms of like is not a Tay McMillan. What's the guy's name? The Arizona wide receiver. Is it McRae? Wide receiver, Arizona State. It's what's the guy's name? Or maybe it's not Arizona State. Is it just like Arizona?
This guy, he's looking up names he should have had off the
Ah,
top of his head. Alex is not
no,
prepared.
it's McMillan. I know it's McMillan. I knew. I mean, I said it's that McMillan. I just thought it wasn't McMillan, but it is that McMillan. He's not a guy like that, of course, but he is a good, okay wide receiver.
Hmm.
But yeah, I would expect him to
I think
address
that's
something in the draft.
I think that's enough Patriots talk for the year.
That's enough Patriots stock for the year. I agree. Okay, what else do we need to do? I think it's just the picks, right? We talked about like every game. We talked about the major impacting news. We addressed our show sheet because we're the A show now and we need to have rules, quote unquote.
Follow the rules.
Follow the rules. So I guess we're down to the picks, right?
We are down to the picks where Alex once again will be wrong. Again. And this
I've
time, unlike last time, his picks for the Super Bowl are actually playing, so there's an actual chance, even if it's low, that, his Super Bowl gets imploded. But we'll see.
Okay. So, we both still have our Super Bowl picks alive. Do you want to make any change to your bracket? Or the
Yes,
bracket is set?
yes.
Oh,
I think the
oh
Lions
you
are going to the Super Bowl
the Lions are going to the Super Bowl. So
on
you
the NFC
think
side. The AFC is set.
okay, so I have the pictures of our results here. I can move it around. Okay, so you think Commanders, Lions, how do you think that pans out?
I think the Lions are winning.
And the Rams, Eagles?
I think the Eagles are winning.
Okay, Rams, Lions, you think the Lions are winning. On the AFC side, it's still the Bills going to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Okay, Lions, Bills.
Oh, God damn it. The Lions are going to win a Super Bowl, aren't they? Oh, Lions.
Oh, where's Josh Allen, Angelo?
Playing in the Super Bowl for the first time, unfortunately. Something Lamar Jackson can't say, funny enough.
We'll see. We'll see about that. Okay, I've also made a change in mind, which is instead of having a Lions Vikings
Ah,
NFC Championship game,
you don't say.
that's not
You don't
happening.
say.
I have a Lions Rams in the conference championship.
Oh no, don't do this to yourself.
So it is what it is.
Okay. Okay.
And that brings us to our picks. Again, as I said, Angelo went 3-3. I went 2-4. That's that numbers. That's it. That's who they are. I've sent you the link. It's on the
I
it's
am
on
here.
the thing. Okay, perfect.
I am here.
And we're doing again like the the line that exists in most places, right?
Yep.
Okay. So do you want to start or do you want me to go?
I'll start. The most common line looks to be 8.5 points that the Chiefs are favored by. Uh, for the record, once again, this is my predictions. I have the Chiefs winning this game. I think the Texans are covering 8.5, though.
Back to back picks on the Houston Texans.
Back
Angelo
to back.
picking the Texans last week, and he's right back on the well.
Was I right?
You were right on the Houston Texans. You won't be this week, though, because the
Oh,
Kansas City Chiefs, the well rested Kansas City Chiefs, are cleaning the floor with your Houston Texans, baby. Give me the
give me a
Chiefs minus
score.
8.5.
Give me a score.
Give,
Like, how many points do you think they're winning?
I think they're winning this one by, let me think. What's a bold enough line? But it isn't stupid. I will
21?
say they are winning this by 14.
Okay. If you say so, buddy.
14. They're winning this by 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
Okay, next up, it's the Commanders at the Detroit Lions. Most available line right now seems to be 9.5. Really weird because there's some 8.5, there's some nines, there's some 9.5s. Line open at 7.5. Heavy action on the Lions. Hmm. But I think I'm gonna go with the Commanders right now. At 9.5, I think like even if the Lions win, I think this Commanders team has been resilient enough to even in adverse situations stay in the game, and they have a bit of luck on their side at times. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Commanders plus 9.5, expecting them to just stay alive and stay kicking in this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you on that. I think 9.5 for the Commanders is too many points. And I think we don't spoiler alert, and the reason that I'm even hesitant to pick the Lions in the Super Bowl, even though I just did, is because of how battered that defense is. I think in the playoffs that's gonna rear its head and we're gonna see a lot of issues. But
And also, like again, as I said, the Washington Commanders are very lucky. Let's put it like that. There've been a few games in which they've almost been caught and they're never caught. So
yeah.
eventually it's gonna flip. Is it this week? I don't know. I think the Lions are gonna win this one, but something tells me this is gonna be close.
Next one is the Rams and the Eagles. The
Oh,
Eagles are favored by 6 points in home. You know which way I'm going here, Alex. Give me the Eagles.
oh, your love, the Eagles.
My love, you just overly hate them. I don't think I love the Eagles. I just think you hate them so much that even a modicum of
We
respect or
we all
props given
heard
to the Eagles.
the round of applause that you gave them, the lap that you took, the victory lap that you took when they won. When I had to admit that maybe I underestimated their defense. So we all heard that, Angelo. No need to hide it. We know that you're a closeted Eagles fan.
Closeted Eagles fan.
We know. Okay, so this line hasn't actually moved. Open at 6. There's a few 6.5s, but like it's 6 across the board mostly. You know where I'm going. I mean, I
Oh,
picked the Rams to win, so would be weird to pick the Eagles -6. So give me the Rams +6. They are playoff. They are to be trusted in the playoffs. Let's put it like that. The QB is playoff tested, won a Super Bowl, which the other guy never managed to. So yeah,
yeah. If only you would
I,
have put that into consideration when in the last round.
they face the Vikings, right? So I'll make the same argument. I'll make the same argument. Eagles sort of fraudulent in the playoffs, right? AJ Brown a bit hurt. Dallas Goddard a bit hurt. Hurts hasn't really been playing anything special. Defense is good, but so is the Rams defense. The Rams are going to get pressure in there, and they have two studded wide receivers. They are playoff tested. They've won a Super Bowl. The McVay Stafford duo keeps giving. The better coach is on the Rams sideline. Give me the Rams +6. And finally, the big game. The big
Oh
big
boy.
wait. This one is on. Wait, this one is Monday, right? 17. No, no. Wait. This one is
Sunday night football, baby.
it's Sunday night. Oh fuck, I won't even be able to watch it. God damn it.
You
At
won't
least
even get.
live.
Don't worry, you're not going to want to watch it. What's about to happen to Ravens? So it's all
Oh
good.
wait, no, this one starts at
Or
11:30 my time. So
yeah,
it's still weird. Okay. So I'll be able to watch like the first half or so. Not too bad. Okay. Ravens at Bills. Big game. The MVP of the league goes to Buffalo to face the fraud, the wannabe MVP, Josh Allen. This one sort of tight. I'm seeing 3 -1s, 5 -1s, so we'll say -1 here. The Ravens are favored by 1 point right now, going away to the Angelo quote unquote MVP. Can you imagine if the MVP of the league isn't even a favorite in his second playoff game at home versus the Ravens? Like, what happened? Like, that can't be a thing, Angelo. Like, that's not a play. That's not an MVP of the league sort of situation. And yeah, I have the MVP of the league winning the game. So give me the Ravens -1.
you know where I'm going. I'm going with the Bills +1. Like, to be honest, if this game wasn't close and the Bills start off with like a 14-0 or 21-0 lead, I'm not necessarily even sure I could call myself surprised. I think that the Ravens are very, very overrated. I think that their defense has not been as good as it has been in previous years. Where, by the way, they also choked well before, well, not well before, but before the conference championship. I don't think prior to Alex's belief that if Derrick Henry had not been on this team, if they had not signed Derrick Henry, the Ravens would have not won their division. The Raven. In fact, the Ravens might not have not even made it to the playoffs, if I'm being quite honest with you, if they did not sign Derrick Henry. I think the hopes and dreams of the Ravens currently rest on Derrick Henry's shoulders, and if the Bills can find a way to limit him, then this game isn't going to be close. Alex is going to turn off the game in disgust. It's going to be the Bills.
Let me just double check something here.
Go ahead.
So I just so we know, this guy Derrick Henry, right, that you're talking about, that the Ravens are putting their playoff lives on the line. Just want to double check what this guy did versus the Bills back on week 4. Oh yeah, that's right. He ran for over 8 yards per carry, totaling a total of 200 yards rushing.
Yep.
Yep. I definitely think it's gonna be easy to contain this guy. I'll tell you that much. For sure. So yeah, good luck to the Bills on that task. The only thing that concerns me about this game is, again, as I said last week, a team facing another one 2 times in a year when they are not in the same division. I think it's hard to sweep the matchup. I think usually it favors the team winning one and the other team winning the second game when the rematch happens. So that is the one thing that sort of concerns me here, because the Ravens did beat the crap out of the Bills. I'm sure that the Bills players will be remembered of that every single moment of this week. So it will be in their head. They will be hyper focused on this matchup. The Ravens are probably still without Zay Flowers as well, which isn't great. But I still have to back my league MVP. Lamar Jackson, league MVP, is going in there and is winning this game.
Goddamn Lamar Jackson fanboy. I'm done.
Like this game is just weird because you're just fighting for the right to lose to the Chiefs next round.
Well, not
But
according
yeah.
to my predictions. But yeah.
Well, but your prediction is wrong though. Let's face
Oh
it.
my god. This guy.
Like not picking the Chiefs after what we've experienced for the past 2 or 3 years, where they always seem like they're not good enough, always seem like they have some sort of issue. The defense isn't good, the offense has issues. Potato, they end up in the Super Bowl. So your prediction is just flat out wrong. Like, not having the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl is the mistake.
We'll see.
But we'll see. So yeah, guys, I think that's it. I think that's the show. If you enjoyed it, and if you didn't, we just need you to go to whatever you're listening this to, Spotify app, Apple Podcasts, whatever. Every platform counts. Just leave us a 5-star review. Just turn on the auto downloads as well, because this way you don't need to be looking for when the show comes out. This show and all the other shows that are about to drop. You don't need to look for them. They will just be available in your library of the download podcasts. So turn that on. 5-star review. Subscribe to the show as well. And if you're listening on the YouTube, just make sure to like, subscribe, all of those good things that you've been doing for quite a while now. If you're not yet following us on Twitter, please do, because we've been a bit more active on this one. Lots of tweets came out this wildcard round. So yeah. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you enjoy the playoffs. If your team is in the playoffs, I hope they won this past week. And I hope they win it still in the divisional round. So, yeah, enjoyed it. Thank you, guys. This one comes out on Saturday. So enjoy the playoffs as well. They are happening in like 5 hours or so. Enjoy them. And, yeah, guys, as always, talk to you next week.